Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to tackle something kind of deep. We're breaking down a fascinating philosophy on the ethics of giving and receiving help and exploring that fine line between when support empowers someone and when it might actually do the opposite. So let's just jump right in with a really tough question that gets right to the heart of what we're talking about today. We usually think giving aid is just good, no questions asked. But this explainer, it wants us to look a whole lot deeper than that. So here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll look at why aid can be a double-edged sword. Then, we'll get into a very specific rule for givers, the 30% rule. After that, we'll flip the script and talk about the receiver's responsibility, zoom out to see the bigger picture with this idea of a scholar's debt, and finally, we'll land on what this philosophy calls life's most valuable asset. All right, let's get right into it. The source kicks things off with a pretty bold claim that giving aid, even with the best intentions, has a pretty significant risk attached. It's not about the act of giving, you see, it's about the effect of what's given. And this is where things get tricky, right? On one hand, you want to help. You want to empower someone. But on the other, if that help isn't structured just right, it can create the exact opposite effect. It can make someone dependent, even weaken their own drive to succeed. It's a fine line between giving a hand up and just giving a handout. So how do you avoid that trap? Well, the speaker lays out this really fascinating and powerful principle for anyone who's in a position to offer help. This isn't just about being generous, it's about being smart and effective with your support. It's all about being precise, right? The goal is to give support that actually empowers someone without taking away their own chance to strive and grow. And that number? It's 30%. Yep. The source is super specific about this. It argues that giving any more than that can cross a really important line, where your help starts to become a hindrance. Think of it this way. The rule is supposed to be a catalyst, not a crutch. Giving someone 30% of what they need can make a huge, daunting goal suddenly feel possible. It's that little boost that inspires them to dig deep and find the strength to come up with the other 70% on their own. And when you see it visualized like this, it really clicks, doesn't it? The aid is just the foundation. It's the starting block, the huge majority of the work. And because of that, all the growth, the pride, the self-reliance, that all comes directly from the person's own hard work. Okay, so we've talked about the giver, but what about the other side of this whole thing? What's the responsibility of the person being offered help? Well, according to this philosophy, it is absolutely an active role, not a passive one. See, receiving help is not a passive act at all. It actually comes with this whole ethical checklist. You have to be brutally honest with yourself. Do I really need this? And maybe even more importantly, is there someone else out there who needs it more than I do? It's about seeing yourself as part of a bigger picture. So what's the bottom line here? Integrity. Integrity when you receive help is just as critical as wisdom when you give it. The source actually warns that taking help you don't truly need can mess with your life down the road. Real character isn't just about accepting gratefully, it's also about knowing when to decline with grace. All right, now let's zoom out a bit. The source uses the example of a university scholarship to make a much bigger point about opportunity and what our obligation is when we get one. The whole idea here is to completely reframe how we think about something like a scholarship. It's not just some nice gift from a donor to a student. It's way bigger than that. It's an investment from society as a whole. And this quote, wow. It really hits home, doesn't it? A scholar's education is built on the people's blood and sweat. It's this powerful reminder that the resources for one person's education come from the hard work of tons of other people in society, many of whom never got that same shot. So when you get that kind of support, it creates this huge responsibility. It's not a gift you just take. It's a debt you have to repay. Not with money necessarily, but by becoming a leader and using what you've learned to serve the very community that made it possible. And that brings us to the final and honestly, maybe the most profound point in this entire philosophy. If we have this debt to society, what do we actually use to repay it? And the source argues it's not what you think. It's not about money or success in the traditional sense. It asks all of us to think about what our single, most valuable, most fundamental asset really is. And it all comes down to one thing: time. That's what the source calls our greatest asset. I mean, think about it. You can earn money, lose it, and earn it back. But time, once you spend it, it is gone forever. So how you choose to spend your time, that becomes the ultimate report card on your life, right? It's how you show your gratitude, how you repay that debt to society. It means going after meaningful goals. And it also means seeing things like rest not as wasted time, but as essential investments so you can contribute even more. So we end right back where we started, with a question. But this one isn't just theoretical. It's personal. It's for every single one of us. How are you investing your time? And how you answer that, well, that kind of defines everything.